I have recently discovered a effective way to patch a hole in my tufting fabric. I have made not one, but 2 holes in this frame here, and that's because I've been using carpet shears to trim the edges, and I've been a little bit careless with them. But now that I have discovered this approach to patching the hole, I feel very confident that I can continue to use this anytime a hole arises. I know that there are some other YouTube videos floating around about ways to solve this problem. I'm not sure if anyone has shared this approach yet. I have done it once and I know it works. So I'm gonna do it again today with y'all. There's a few things you're gonna need. One of them is embroidery floss. This is kind of a thinner embroidery floss that I just had on hand. It seems to work really well. And then I think ideally you will use a curved needle. I just picked this up from Joann's, but I'll link something similar below. You can probably find this at like any craft store. The needles that I'm going to be using are these curved ones here, because essentially we're going to be weaving this floss, this embroidery floss, in order to kind of replicate the weave pattern of the tufting fabric where that hole is. I highly recommend getting a curved needle if you can, but it's not impossible with a straight needle. I just ended up using some pliers to kind of get it through, but I have a feeling this is going to work much better. And then you'll just need scissors. So that's really all. Here is the hole that I've made. The first step is to tuft around this. I want to make it as dense as possible so the embroidery floss has something to kind of stick into. So I'm gonna tuft around here and be right back. Okay, I think this is good enough. Basically what I'm looking for, and the reason why I tufted a little bit around here, is just so that there's yarn above, below, and to either side of the tear, because I think the embroidery floss will stick better in the dense yarn. I actually tufted a little bit too close to the hole and I made the tear bigger, so just be really careful that you're not getting too close and pulling some of these fibers. The concept that we're going for here is, as you can see, our fabric has this really nice woven grid to it. The grid has obviously broken in multiple ways, and what we're going to be doing with the embroidery floss is recreating that grid until you can no longer obviously stick your finger through it, until it feels really nice and solid like this does. We want to make sure that we can apply pressure with our gun so that we can tuft into it. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this smaller needle here, and I'm just gonna take my embroidery floss. What I ended up doing last time, like instead of tying a bunch of knots in the floss, I ended up just like letting the strings hang down on either side, so I didn't have to like tie a bunch of different knots, because you're going to be threading a lot. I'm going to start by adding more vertical lines to like fill this gap, and over here a bit. I ended up kind of like starting down here and weaving through some of this yarn just to create a good solid tight line. So I'm gonna start down here. And repeat a lot of times. Now for the fun part. We want to do the same thing we did on either side to kind of secure the yarn in, but this time we're going to weave through the lines that we have placed. I'm just gonna start where this first line kind of drops off. All finished, and I know that I'm finished because when I press down like this, it feels very even, kind of like when I press here. It doesn't feel like there are any gaps in tension. I'm just pushing around to make sure that the weave that I've created can withstand a significant amount of pressure, because you might think that when we're tufting over this spot that you should use less pressure, but that's definitely not the case. You want to make sure you're using the same amount of pressure that you would in any other part of the fabric. Now I'm going to tuft in this area and see how it goes. Here we are. I was able to tuft over that entire hole with no issues, and I'm gonna turn around and show you the front. All right, this was where the hole was. No one will ever know. I'm very pleased. So that is it for this video. Let me know how it goes. This is the second time that I have successfully used this approach to patch a hole. I think it took me probably an hour in total to patch it. Let me know if you try this and it works for you. Send me your pictures, your success stories, or any questions you have. If you found this video useful, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe so that I can share more tips like this with you in the future. And yeah, good luck, and let me know how it goes. All right, bye.